Hi, it's Anne-Marie, and I'm here with Roxane Tracey of Fresh Paint Studios. Welcome, Roxane.
Hi, Ann.
Um, we're just going to have a conversation about your business. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what your business is and how you got started?
Yes, Fresh Paint Studio is a Toronto-based art studio where we focus on everything from paint nights, paint parties, kids' parties. We focus on really bringing in the community to help inspire them to create art. So that's the focus. We're located on the Danforth in Toronto, and we invite everybody in from all ages to sort of create and just be inspired to develop their art skills. And what got me started was really the inspiration as a visual artist and also poet to not just share my art with the world, but to share the creative process of doing art with the community. More so to invite the community in to create art in a very, I guess, warm and inviting space where they can feel that art is accessible for everybody. So it was with that sort of spirit and intention that I really got started and wanted to develop the studio.
And your space is great. Like when I drop by, it's beautiful. It's really lovely. Nice high ceilings, that kind of stuff. So so you're an artist yourself and a poet. And what motivates you to want to make a success of a business like this?
Yes, I feel like, as an artist, in sharing my voice through poetry and art, that's sort of one side of what I do. But really, more so as an artist, wanting to feel like there is some control over your destiny, your creative destiny. Because as artists, we're often sort of going to art shows and going to other spaces to make our own success, perhaps. But I was really sort of focused on the idea of creating a space where I could have some control over my success, perhaps, through inviting the community in to share that spirit of creativity. So it was more so, I feel, wanting to create an alternative concept as an artist to not just be an artist who shows their work and sells their work, in terms of that option. Nothing wrong with that, of course, but more so to feel like I had some control over this my own destiny and path in terms of being an entrepreneur and creating a business where I could see there was a need for people to share, to experience art and to share in their own creativity by creating art. So I really felt that the studio was that type of opportunity to do that.
Sounds amazing. So what are some things, some feedback that you get from people who I attend art night, obviously, but who are also visual artists?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I feel like most people who come into the space are not artists at all. So we get that feedback where I haven't done art since grade school, or or I can't draw a stick figure, or whatever it is. And so people come in with their own previous experiences, and they come into the space, and it's really like they're transported, sometimes back to childhood, and it's back to a feeling. Or a time and place where they felt free to create, and they felt like they could create with no judgment and fearlessly. And we lose some of that as adults, unfortunately. But when people come back into the studio space, they really sort of are transported back into that time and space, and they have that feeling again. And there's always a lot of joy. There's always a lot of happiness, because people really are reconnected with that experience once again.
Well, it sounds like a really fun activity to do with your family or your friends or just people who are there in your space, right? Um, so what are your goals for next year? Like, how long have you been in this business?
Mhm. So we've been around since 2016, February 2016. So good 6 years now. In terms of next steps, we're always sort of trying to be innovative, thinking ahead. What more can we do? What more can we bring to the community? And how can we further connect them to the art experience? We're thinking of a few different things that we'd like to do, different initiatives around, I guess, creativity and wellness. So linking creativity and wellness together and creating programs around that for individuals, just because where we are today, like wellness is such an important, heightened experience in terms of the awareness around wellness, and both our mental wellness, our creative wellness, but just wellness as individuals and how we can connect that to creativity. So that's one of the things that we're going to be working on. we're also sort of entering into an opportunity where we want to do something playful, where we're mixing the idea of painting with games. So this
Okay.
idea of we're almost like I guess paint night meets survival or something like that, where we're sort of blending this idea of challenges that are linked to the concept of painting. So it's just some fun and innovative things that we're working on.
You might be really interested in connecting with some other people that I've interviewed. I interviewed a woman at something called the Bitov method, and the Bitov method is people who are experiencing memory loss, and a lot of the engagement they do is through art and dance, just because those are things that that remain in people's memories as they are experiencing some cognitive challenges. And there's another organization that I've talked to. Let's see, I'm going to just connect you up with a bunch of people called Kenja to Dance. And Kenja to Dance does dance basically, but they do neighborhood-based dance. Like they'll do dance. They did porch dances, for example, where they people would act out their life stories on their porches. So maybe what I'll do after this, I'll just connect you with a couple of people, and if that's something you want to do jointly with other artists who are doing other things, that might be an idea.
Oh, yes, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's fun. I love doing these interviews because I just go, oh, look at that, you do that, and you might want to do this.
Yeah. Okay.
So you work in this neighborhood and you have your business in this neighborhood. Do you also live in the neighborhood?
Yes, I also live in the neighborhood. We actually live upstairs above the studio.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. So,
Yes.
well, at least it's a quiet business. You don't live upstairs over a restaurant or a bar.
Yes.
So that's great. And what factors drew you to this neighborhood?
Um, Interestingly enough, sort of looking for a space where it felt very community oriented,
Yeah.
because I have a young daughter, and thinking about, schools and the feeling of family and community in the area. And I guess it's interesting because maybe it's timing. I was told that many years ago the community was quite different, but it's really sort of blossomed into a very community oriented space where what I find, local business is frequented. People do care about local businesses in a genuine way,
Yeah.
and they actually do go out of their way to support local businesses. So, and just sort of going around and talking to other businesses about their experiences and just doing some research, it felt right in terms of the community.
Yeah, no, I like, obviously I interview people in the community, and it is a really engaged and supportive community. I find, like, people are always talking, and that's what I'm going to ask you next. Why do you think it's important to support other local businesses?
Yes, I mean, I guess so many reasons. One of the reasons would be because you're supporting the dreams of an individual, really. I mean, in supporting a local business, you can see where your money is going. You can see the individuals that that money is supporting, and that you can feel good about what you're doing and what you are investing in, because it is an investment. And it's kind of that idea where you're supporting other individuals within the community, because the business, whether they live in the community or not, they are in that community and they're enriching it in a way by their existence in terms of what they're offering. And so you're really sort of nurturing that spirit and helping to nurture individuals in their desire to grow and do something positive, and bring more to the community that's outside of just maybe big box sort of stores and things like that, but bring more just of themselves, and bring more of the genuine spirit of individuals who really want to do more, and build a community and make it something unique and something different. I feel like the businesses in a community say a lot about the community in terms of sort of that unique elements, that sort of that differentiation that you'll find in different sort of niches and pockets throughout Toronto. You find these great little businesses, and they're like little sparks of the actual neighborhood. So it's really I think in supporting those businesses, you're helping to support businesses that are helping to uplift and nurture your own community.
That sounds amazing. So, are there any businesses that you want to give a shout out to while we're doing this interview? Any favorite restaurants, coffee shops, whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I feel like there are so many.
Yeah.
There are, I would definitely give a shout out to the Ellery as a great sort of business. They're quite across the street in
Right.
terms of the food offerings that they have. They're just also wonderful people in terms of being very, very kind and genuinely invested in the community. Definitely Zaf's coffee shop for
Yeah.
sure. Know him in terms of being a supporter of the arts and also just wanting to create a space that's warm and welcoming for community members as well. And I mean, the list goes on. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
No. It's a question I ask, but I don't want to put you on the spot.
yeah.
So you run your business, you live upstairs, if you have a child. So if you have any spare time, what do you like to do in your spare time?
Yes, I guess it's at a premium, the spare time for sure. Um,
Sure.
in my spare time, I love to read. I love words. I mean, I guess find that through my art, basically, for sure. But in terms of just escaping through reading or exploring knowledge through reading, that's one of my faves for sure. Also, just like to get outside, sort of get back into nature, go for walks, hikes, things like that.
That's a
And
great neighborhood for that.
yes, yes, and just find that quiet time where you're sort of forced to slow down a little bit and reconnect. So I'd say those are some of my top two for sure.
And so does your business have anything special going on right now that you want to tell people about, that you want to profile?
Yeah, I mean, I would say as we sort of enter into like the cooler months into fall and winter, we're sort of ramping up in terms of our offerings for, all of our creative workshops and paint nights and things like that. And you're going to find on our calendar a lot of really sort of cool, interesting things, like we're doing like paint your own portrait kind of activity. We did a paint your pet night. So we're sort of
That's
really
great.
kind of getting into some more creative ideas on the calendar. So just generally to invite people to check out the calendar and see what we have going on.
Oh, that sounds good. And so what's the best way for customers to contact you? Come by
Yeah,
the store, give you a call, email, what works?
yeah. I mean, anything, all of the above. Email works. The info at freshpaintstudio.ca works, or you can give us a call on our phone number. But yeah, we love when people pop in as well, say hi as well.
Great. So if you were talking to a young person who was going to start a business, maybe a business like yours or a different kind of business, what advice would you give them?
Well, that's a good question. One of the things I would definitely say is everybody, you're going to fail, and don't see failure as a reason to stop. See it as a sort of a gift in that it's giving you direction. So to really, I guess, be mindful of your perspective and those little sort of green monsters inside that can sort of derail us, and looking at things in a broader perspective and trying to really understand that things happen for a reason. And sometimes it's not that we're not meant to be on the path that's set in front of us. Maybe
Right.
it's just we're supposed to move slightly to the right or slightly to the left, and the things that are happening are meant to guide us as opposed to being deterrents. And it's that persistence that's going to push you forward. And just really just trying to frame your mindset and always be positive no matter what is going to happen, because being an entrepreneur, it's a roller coaster for sure. There's going to be
Mhm.
lots of ups and downs, and the ride is worth it, but it's enough. Like a lot of it is very much about mindset and how you view the things that are happening.
Well, that's fantastic advice. I really appreciate it. I appreciate it for my own self too. So I just want to thank you so much for having this conversation with me, telling us about your studio and all the offerings that you've got. And I look forward to, being able to come by and maybe do some painting. I have to tell you, I have 3 kids. They're not kids anymore, they're adults, who are very creative. And I tell you, I don't generally feel like I've got that creative gene. They get it from their dad. But you know, we've always enjoyed something where we do it together. So that sounds like a great idea. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you so much again.
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to the community and just share with them as well. Thank you so much.
Okay.